Every company needs an accountant.
Take opportunities, be open to learning, have fun.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Wow, I actually have more insight on accounting. Hi, welcome to today's podcast. Today we will be talking about strategizing your journey. Joining us today, we have Ms. Amber Jones, who is an audit senior manager at Grant Thornton, and we have Mr. Nate Gooch, who is a risk transformation senior associate at KPMG. We first and foremost would like to give a special shout out to Accounting Class for being such a great platform and a major resource to high school students and college students like myself who are interested in the accounting field by showcasing real life stories from professionals who are in the same area and spaces that we strive to be in. So, Janae, can you tell us about a hobby or an interest that you have outside of work?
So outside of KPMG, I have a number of different hobbies. I tend to say my hobbies rotate with the seasons. So my last hobby that I just finished in the winter was ice skating. I used to ice skate when I was little, and so I decided to finally pick the hobby back up again.
Yeah.
I also love running, and then for summer, tennis is going to probably be my sport of choice. So kind of getting back into tennis camps and just going out and having a fun volley with friends. So
Awesome. What's the importance behind that?
So I would say each hobby kind of has a different importance. Ice skating, I just love because it teaches not only balance, but self-centering. And I think that's very important kind of in the work that we do to really remain balanced and really to prioritize the things that need to be top of mind, but while not also sacrificing that work-life balance.
Yeah, beautiful. I love that answers. Amber, I want to know, what are some ways that you unwind or recharge? Because I know you're a busy woman, and I know it's lots of balance.
Mine is working out. So maybe a year and a half ago, I started with a trainer. So 4 days a week, I work out at 5 a.m. With a trainer.
Yeah.
And to Janae's point, just that balance, it's a mental agility thing, right? You can decompress. It's a stress reliever. I like to think I do quite a bit between 5 and 6:30 than some people do all day with, that hour and a half that I'm working out.
Yeah, so what about recharging? How do you recharge? I know we have to stay energized every day, so what does that look like for you?
Outside of my me time, I like to consider myself an introverted extrovert, right? I like being around people, but I also enjoy my me time to kind of, rebalance. But outside of that, family and friends. So, I love concerts. I love traveling, right? Whether it's a quick weekend trip, whether it's a brunch with friends, or just something that gets me out of the house and not thinking about work or any other.
What first drew you guys into accounting? Was it the numbers? Was it the fact that you guys saw the bigger picture of accounting and how it made an impact into the world? What is y'all's story when it comes to accounting?
I'd say for me, I know originally in high school, I was in what we call health professions. So I was like, okay, I still want to help people. I'd go into hospital administration. And then as I started taking, classes my freshman and sophomore year, I thought about why I kind of silo myself just to hospital administration when I could do accounting, which kind of gives me, you can touch on everything, right? You take finance classes, you take accounting classes, marketing classes, etc. So I just thought accounting would give me an insight into the complete operations of a company. So wherever I decided to go after, I was still around it.
Yeah, I love that. What about you, Janae?
So for me, it's a little different. I was that kid that always hated math. Calculus nearly destroyed my life. Oh, no. I was like, I'm lost in these variables. They're not making any logical sense. I just don't know where to go from here. And then as part of being a business major, since I tend to start it out with business instead of accounting, once I learned I had to take an accounting class, I'm like, oh my goodness, is this going to be calculus all over again? But it was the first time in my life I encountered math with reason, where it's like, oh my goodness, this actually makes sense. You have $3, Sally has $3, you have $6. Audit this account. It made sense because it told the story. Yeah. And I think for me, that was what was missing from a lot of the calculations that I'd been doing in the past. The story behind it. And so that's where I kind of really began to journey into the accounting field. I also had a professor that really made it come to life as well. She always was pulling current news articles and really just making sure we were connecting the material in class with what was actually going on in the real world. And so I just love the real world application of accounting and how you can, again, kind of use numbers to tell a story.
Yeah. Have, you didn't really like math, but you still chose accounting, but it's because of the real life situation and stuff like that. But just kind of speak on that a little bit, because it's people in the audience who are scared to take accounting classes and to pick it up as a major because they probably felt the same way that you felt, like, I'm not good at math.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely say, like, for those that are, worried about accounting, going and not having, like, a strong, like, math background, again, you can definitely pick it up. It's almost a logical progression as you go throughout the different levels of accounting, which I really think helps those that aren't super, I don't want to say technical, but like super into the weeds of like, 1 + 1 = 2.
Yeah.
It's more so if you get the conceptual nature of what you're solving, the math almost works itself out.
Yeah. Can you share a story that was related to your career path that may have been unexpected, whether it was like something that you happened in college or internship or in the interview process, just a memorable experience as well?
I mean, I'll speak to my internship. So I interned maybe my junior or senior year of college before going into grad school. And I mean, you do the on-campus interviews, right? You do the site visits, right? You do the office visit. And so when I did the actual internship, it was rewarding or nice to actually be a part of the team. So actually doing the work, being involved with the team, having the accessibility to the partners and managers that were on the engagement, knew my name, right? It made me feel seen. So even though initially I was just doing the internship where I wasn't sure if public accounting was something that I actually wanted to go into versus, taking a accounting position at an organization. So that was one. And then when I started full time a year later, coming back and having one of the lead people in the firm, our national professional standards partner, walked in the door. He was the first person I saw, and he remembered my name, right? So from that was unexpected. That was, nice first day, first year out of college. And then just keeping those connections going, over the course of my career and building upon that.
Yeah, that was nice. That's great to hear. Yeah. About you?
I would say similar to your story, Amber. I also started my journey into accounting in college. I remember just freshman year, I was one of those like overzealous, too much time freshmen that was like, let's just go to everything because I have no idea what I'm doing, but like we need to figure out.
Try it all, right?
Yeah, like what our life's gonna look like in the next couple of years. Yeah. So I remember going to, it was actually sponsored by the Black Business Association at USC, and there was, they kind of had like a Big Four night. So they brought in different recruiters and they just wanted them to kind of connect with students, share the upcoming application cycle, and, just kind of prepare, especially students of color, for what the application process looked like. Sadly, I think only 4 students showed up to that. So they basically were like, okay, each one of you guys pair with the recruiter and like talk about like, what you hope to get out of college or like what.
It was perfect.
It was perfect. It was like the one-on-one connection with the recruiter that wasn't, mass chaos at a career fair. And so from there, I really just, connected with the recruiter, started going to more events. I was always, again, that freshman that was way too young to be at any of these career fairs, but was there just, to meet people and like
building that network.
Yeah, building that network early. And when I actually went to go do my interview for my internship with KPMG, one of the recruiters, I was like, hey, wait, give me a minute. And then so she brought in the whole recruiting team that I already had known because I had been at so many of the events. And I was like, oh my goodness, like, I don't know all of this. We're here. But again, it just shows the power of like, if I could plug anything, like go to events, be public, present yourself, to opportunities, and you'll be surprised like what comes your way.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I'm loving that, you guys, even though your journeys are different, it's still kind of correlating because at the end of the day, that's what it's about, making those connections and showing up. So just to get a little bit deeper into you guys' journey, can you guys give me an insight on how y'all climbed to the corporate ladder, like the climbing the corporate ladder, just a little bit of a deeper story into like the process after, college, and get into where you guys are now?
So for me, started off with the internship, started full-time a year later. So I've been with the firm since I've been an associate, and it's been almost 12 years now as my current role as an audit senior manager. I'd say that process, similar to what Janae said, just with the networking, is using your resources. I had the opportunity my second year as an associate to what we call super senior, a private audit, which got me more exposure to not only the managers and partners, but gave me the opportunity to work on more technical sections, right? And to kind of see the full breadth of the audit. And kind of from that, it had me, because initially my plan was to stick around. I mean, in college, I'm sure you've heard it. You stick around till you make a senior, and then you can decide after that if you want to do something else. So in my mind, initially, that was always the plan. But with the exposure and the connections that I got, every year I just stuck around. Had my, reflections after busy season on, was it really that bad? What did I learn from it? How did I grow? How can I do better next year to not only make it a more, I don't know if enjoyable is the word, but a more pleasant experience for myself and my team. So for me, it's making the connections and doing the work, asking the questions. When you perform well, you get opportunities and you can be more vocal about some of the things that you want to work on and have more experience to see different industries, to work with different teams, and then just the connections with my clients as well.
Janae, what is the importance behind people or students on campus being active in organizations? Like you said, getting to know and showing up to the events. Why is that so important and essential in this industry?
I don't think you fully understand the opportunity you have in college until you leave. This is the one point in your life where all resources are thrown at you. Companies are literally coming to recruit you. You have resources of professors and staff just available at your disposal to really, glean wisdom and really just get direction going forward. So I would definitely say, take advantage of whether it's professors, they're great resources. If your school has any career fairs, definitely go to them, because they really do mark attendance for those that, really attend. And I think that also makes your application stand out when they're able to put, a face to your resume versus, you're just a name and a stack, and just really help you to build those personal connections. So when you do go into the interview process your junior year, they're like, oh, we already know this individual. They've been around. We've got to see them in a number of capacities. And, that just helps your chances to really, drive home all the hard work that you've been doing thus far.
How does it benefit the students?
I think it benefits the students because not only are you having the opportunity to, potentially get an offer after graduation, but I always tell students, particularly sophomore students, some of the firms have some awesome programs that are just geared towards exploratory searches into accounting. So they'll take you to Disney World, or you'll have a week in Hollywood, or just all these different opportunities. But it allows you to make a more informed decision going into your junior year internship of okay, I vibe with this company, or, I'm not really sure. I kind of like this particular culture or feel. And so you could be more targeted instead of just applying for the first internship you see because you're well, I don't know, and it's kind of last minute.
Right.
So just the informed decision-making process.
Yes, I love that.
And just to add on, you're building your network. I don't think as a college student, I took advantage of that, right? Your network, it starts as early as your freshman year, right? So not only are you meeting people as you go through the interview process, when you come to events like NABA, when you go to, regional conferences, your peers are your network, right? As you continue to progress in whatever career path that you take, whatever organization that you go to work for, as you climb that corporate ladder, these are your peers that are going to be at other organizations that you can call on when you need a referral, or maybe you're looking for a job and I can call Janae and say, hey, I know someone, can I have them talk to you? Maybe you can connect them with someone. That network, it's never too early to start building it.
In your experience, what is the best way that students can showcase their experience and skills on their resumes?
I'd say, to Janae's point, definitely start using the resources you have at your college, with its career services, to read it, kind of refresh it, and make sure it's in the latest whatever resume order that they think it should be. And then taking your work experience and tailoring it to the job that you're applying to. That could be using your accounting professor, right? Hey, I worked at company X. I'm applying to company Y. Here's my experiences. Can you help me think through how I can make this job and pull out examples that I've done over the course of this career match the responsibilities of the role that I'm applying to?
Do you have any advice on how to turn internships into full-time offers?
Yes, so I would definitely say your internship is kind of your first foot in the door. They're really watching like how you work, not only with the deliverables that they give you, but also how do you work with a team? How are you, just socially in completing whatever requirements or deliverables that you have to complete? So I would definitely say, again, networking, as Amber has really stressed, like that is your opportunity to really meet the people that are ultimately going to be deciding whether or not you come back. So, walking the office halls, setting up lunches with your managers or just people on your team, just to really get to know them and just continue to reiterate your desire, to really learn in that particular role, but also to continue to carry that forward. So I would say this is your opportunity to make your name a fixture rather than just like you complete the internship and fade into the blue.
That's good. Do you have anything to add?
No, the only thing to add, it's an interview. Not only are you interviewing the firm, but the firm is also interviewing you. So taking advantage of everything, asking all the questions, just remember it's an interview and just take advantage of it.
Yeah. Janae, can you discuss the roles of the AI tools in the interview process and the resume building process?
Yes, so I think I'll just start kind of addressing the first part of your question and then I'll move to the second.
Yes, I got you.
So for the first part of AI tools being used within the interview process, you'll notice a lot of companies are coming out with what they call first level interviews. So these are going to be interviews that typically take place online.
Yeah.
So they'll flash a set of questions, you'll be on camera, you'll be responding to those questions. It'll be watching a number of different features such as your facial response, whether you're looking down and you look like you're reading notes or, off in the corner because your camera isn't centered. And so I think to just best prepare for the way that those interviews are conducted is really just taping yourself and doing some dry runs on how you're answering questions, looking to see if you have any kind of facial tics or just anything that may be distracting from your answers coming through clearly on camera.
Yeah.
And then shifting to the second part of your question with AI tools in resume, I would say again, AI tools are in essence tools. They are not the all and be all for your resume, right? Where you can just plug it in and send it forward. So I would say definitely use it as a template. It has great insights as far as, okay, this is how if you want like a baseline structure, but really make sure you're tailoring it to the position, as Amber, you mentioned, that you're applying to and making sure that even AI makes mistakes and it's not, swapping out a company name for a different one that you're applying to.
Exactly. So, Janae, what would you say the advantages that AI tools have to offer?
So I would say it provides, again, that structural component. So for a lot of individuals, resume on-demand boot camps are always accessible. Mm-hmm. So with AI, you can kind of see, okay, this is typically how applicants in the past have structured different resumes, and it can kind of give you an idea of like how to do that. So I think it is a useful tool in just kind of having that baseline structure. I would also say, as like a kind of like a side tangent as well, never underestimate the power of cover letters, because they also allow you, to explain your story in more of a narrative format. Yeah. Because with a resume, you're listing like, this is how the skills and experiences that I've gained apply to your position. With the cover letter, you're saying, this is how those skills and positions also contribute to my overall trajectory of what I'm doing now and what I want to do in the future.
What are some risks that you can give to students who are possibly trying to utilize these tools, like so that they can be aware of anything, like as far as I know you said that it's to enhance, it's not the all in all?
Yeah, I would definitely say as well, I mean, AI, again, it's an aggregator. Mm-hmm. So it's pulling different resources together to show you this is kind of a template of what a resume would look like. What are the pitfalls could be is it doesn't reflect your story.
Yeah.
Like it's reflecting, these are the top buzzwords of the industry and these are the top criteria that it's looking for, but it's not necessarily, if your criteria doesn't fit, don't try to make it fit AI, like make AI fit your story.
That's good. Yeah. That's
And
good.
ensuring it's in your voice.
Yes.
And it doesn't sound as if a tool wrote it.
That's good. That's necessary. What are some common challenges that you see students face during like the interview process, the resume process, and internships?
I'd say one, not using your resources, right? If someone's willing to help, they say, hey, let me know if you have any questions. I'll review your resume, take advantage of those resources, understanding that you got here because you have the requisite background, right? Your GPA is up to par. You've taken the necessary classes to get you in the door. You're coming in, you have something to add, you know something. Join the teams, ask the questions, right? Sometimes you see interns, they like to kind of sit in the corner, nervous and shy, and they won't really ask questions. Ask questions. Ask to take on new things, right? If you've completed a task, you've done your self-review. Let me say that's number 3, self-review, right? It's not a race. You're given a task. Make sure you understand the task. Understand how you learn and receive information. I know that's one thing that I discuss with interns and associates as well. If you're a visual person and I'm throwing a lot of words at you, don't tell me you have it when you don't.
Right.
Hold on, Amber. Can you repeat that? Can we walk through one together? I just want to make sure I got it. Okay. Ask the questions, know how you learn, and then just embrace any and everything all the opportunities that are given to you.
Yeah. As accountants who have utilized innovative tactics in your interviews, what are some examples that worked for you guys?
I don't necessarily know if this is an innovative tactic, but I would definitely say it's something that's often overlooked. Like, do your research on the person that's interviewing you.
Yeah.
Whether that's a LinkedIn search or just, if you had the opportunity to meet them maybe at a networking event before, but know exactly who you're talking to and how you can best bring your story across that individual. So, maybe even finding like different connection points if they grew up in the same, state or they have a similar hobby. I think interviews, as much as it is like very, question and technical based, it's a person.
Yeah.
And so making those connections, being able to just show like, okay, like this is the type of person that I'd want on my team, I think will go miles in your interview.
Yeah, I love that. Do you have anything to say?
No, I agree. And just take advantage of the Q&A, as you mentioned, and just the interview process. But when it wraps up and an interviewer asks you, do you have any questions for me? Take advantage of that as well.
Okay.
It could be, for instance, at GT, we're all about culture, right? Tell me what can you give me an example of what GT's culture has meant to you and what's made you stick around all of this time, right? Taking advantage of the opportunity to ask the interviewer questions as well.
Well, what's a good question that somebody has asked you, or what is a good question for the company that would be good for if somebody in the audience was trying to pursue KPMG?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think like, cultural fit is a huge aspect of every company. Mm-hmm. And so I think, again, while the interview focuses on a lot of technical aspects, just getting to know like the culture of the firm is super important, to your interviewing process as well. And so I think, good questions revolve around like, what's the culture of your organization? Like, what's typically, even more on a minute level, what's the travel schedule of this role? I feel like a lot of people jump into roles and they don't understand like, okay, this is a time commitment, and then it starts being, there's friction where it's like, oh, I didn't think I was going to be traveling like 3 or 4 days a week. Yeah. But understanding like sometimes like that's the nature of the role you're jumping into. So asking them like, what do they find challenging in their role? What are some of the benefits, that they found throughout their career? Allows you to kind of gauge, what that culture looks like.
Yeah, actually, that's very great. That's good. I want to know, what advice would you give to students who are maybe a little nervous about networking and connecting when it comes to like these events and like getting themselves out there? Like, what advice could you give to, some of our introverted people in the audience?
Go out on a limb, and right, we've all been there. We are all here for you. Take advantage of it. Walk up, introduce yourself, connect. Just take advantage of it. Step outside of the box. Let the introvertedness, go out the window and interact with any and everybody that you can. I mean, walk away with business cards, walk away with Instagrams of your peers, LinkedIn's with, the professionals that you're networking with. Take advantage of it, and once you've connected, stay in touch. If you're interested in pursuing a career at GT or KPMG and one of us have connected with you and say, hey, keep in touch, I'm open to answer any questions. I'm not just saying that. Like, I mean, right? These organizations, they do a good job at bringing the best people here to present and to network with you. And they're the people who they know are the most open and willing to help guide you throughout your career.
That's good. Do you have anything to add?
I would definitely say also, just in addition, networking is a team sport. So for a lot of the introverts out there, like, bring your friends. Like, it could be an activity almost where it's like, okay, guys, we're going to go, to this networking event, and between us, we need to have at least 10 professionals, or like get at least 10 business cards. And so I think it adds more of a fun game component to it, but also the camaraderie where, like, I'm not going to be walking into a room where I know no one. Like, I know I have friends, that are also mingling and, working the room as well. So it's just that comfort of like, okay, like we can all do this. And then I also say too, like, set a time limit. Like, I'm going to go to this event for an hour. I know after an hour, my social battery may be dead. So it's like, I can grab a cupcake and leave, versus like, I'm going to go to this event and stay all night and basically just the lights off. It's like, have a boundary, to the recruiting event that you're going to.
And that's totally real. Everything that you guys are saying is real. So is there any other final thoughts or advice that you can give to our audience? Because again, it's geared toward high school students and college students that are looking to be in the same areas, spaces that you are.
I would say, like, first and foremost, it's never too early to start.
Yeah.
You're at the prime level. High school students to really begin to see what colleges can set you on that trajectory. And then college students, I would say, this is a time for you to try things. If you're interested, going into college, dead set on being a lawyer, maybe try some classes that aren't geared towards what you think you want to do. And you'll be surprised, like, how your mindset shifts as you kind of grow throughout your college experience. So I would say definitely try things, make those connections where you can. This is kind of the period in your life to say yes with boundaries, where it's, you're making yourself available to the opportunities, but also making sure that those are opportunities geared towards where you want to end up long term.
Believe it or not, you'll have people who are at the levels of our career who may not have gotten that exposure as a high school student and as a senior, and it's an integral part as you continue to progress in your career path to be able to be open to saying yes, understanding the boundaries, and then just networking.
Yeah. So you guys have just made this such a great podcast. You guys have been so wonderful. It's been so special. And so what are some ways for them to stay connected with you guys? I just want you guys to go ahead and give a little plug in to how they could stay connected. And like you said earlier, like both of y'all said earlier, reach out to me if you need anything. I know you guys are always going to be open ear, and so I don't want to be the only one taking advantage of it. So how can we stay connected?
You can connect with me on LinkedIn, Amber Jones, Audit Senior Manager at Grant Thornton.
Yes, and likewise as well, LinkedIn's probably my preferred method of communication. It's my first name, Janae, and then last name, Gooch.
Yeah, so perfect. Thank you guys so much. And also, I just want to give one last shout out to Accounting Plus for being just such a great platform and a major resource. You guys are so amazing. And we thank you so much for tuning into this episode. We look forward to seeing you on the next one. And to jumpstart your career, visit joinaccountingplus.com.